Hello there. Okay, this webinar is about community outreach marketing. And it's something I think that's very, very important because so many times folks don't know how to get to other segments of the community and sometimes maybe stick to their traditional marketing, traditional offers, whatever. And this is an addition to your marketing that'll help you quite a bit. We've done it in several clients, works quite well, community outreach. So let's get into it because we've got about 15 to 20 minutes here for you to find out what we're talking about. So what are we talking about here today? What we're talking about, what we're going to discuss is defining community outreach, selecting the various communities you'd like to reach, also what type of rewards that we're going to offer to these people to come into to your salons at times when maybe you're not getting enough bodies, and what they should expect from that. And then also, let me get this to work here. Where should you integrate your community outreach marketing into your regular marketing campaign? Because some of you may not have thought about this, and then also what kind of offers you could have in your marketing to get your communities interested in what you put out there. So now here's what's important is why is reaching these communities important? So, and what can they do for your salons? Well, there's a lot of reasons why they're important. A lot of these outreach communities have large networks among themselves, and usually they have great experiences with service industries. So these are the kind of folks that you want to go after. A lot of them have a higher socioeconomic income levels. They have a lot of discretionary income. That's also good to go after. They can be influential social networking members. They have a lot of webbing that goes around themselves, and they often can be very influential because of their position. This is a highly 18 to 54 demographic. That's great for tanning consumers. And lastly, when we talk about these communities, you say, well, how do we verify that they're part of these communities? And of course, you can history check on your software to see if they've been in before and have taken advantage of one of these offers before. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But let's talk about what will get their attention when you're talking about a special offer to this particular community or others. So a message of gratitude, and that's what we're really talking about, is a message of gratitude. It's a gift or special offer. It's some kind of exclusive for them. We want to feel that because I'm part of the medical or first responder or educator community, this is very special for me. So it's a select, no charge weekend tanning. Doesn't sound like something that's brand new, right? But I tell you, it really is because it costs you very little. I'll get into that in just a second. And so it costs very, very little. Free tans on a defined specific weekend are super cheap ways to get feet in the door. And we're not talking about a weekend during a peak season. We're talking about the off-peak times and pre-peak, and I'll get into that in just a minute too. So when should I plan these outreach weekends? Well, okay, good question. Pre-peak season, such as January, and because we all know that really peak season doesn't start until really late January, and February, March, things go crazy, right? So I would say a pre-peak season of January, you run in a different community each weekend through the first weekend of April. And you say, well, first weekend of April, we're starting to get people in. Yeah, but you want more people and you want more bodies. Remember that in that January period, what you're looking for is market share. And of course, you have all these fitness centers that are running specials that start probably the last week of December between Christmas and New Year's. New year, new me, come in, lose so many pounds, blah, blah, blah. So you're competing with people that have a lot of advertising and a lot of important touch with the community. So you want to get bodies in the door. It's market share. January is all about market share. So I think you got to get something out there to get some people in there. And if you do one community, one weekend of January, let's say it's a medical community, and then you do the first responders, and then you do educators or media, and I'm going to go through all of these in just a minute. So also set up these segments for the peak starting February, setting up the peak for February and March when tanning, really explodes, because this is important. You want to make sure that you've got that market share, and you want to reactivate those outreach weekends in June through October, when the demand is kind of fallen off and maybe you've lost some bodies. And I'd give each segment, as you go through the year, 3 to 4 of these weekends to build up a following, because that following is very important. You want people to know what you're trying to do that's special for those communities. And whatever you do, take loads of pictures for posting with your Facebook and email and Instagram or whatever. Make sure that you take lots of pictures of these people coming into tan. And if whether first responders or whatever, it'd be great if somebody came in there in a policeman's uniform or a fire person's uniform, or they came in because they're an educator and maybe they got a coach whistle around them, whatever it is. If you can get them in for a tan and ask them permission to use their picture that they took advantage of that weekend, that would be terrific. It's an opportunity to take customers from your competition, and you need all the help you can get, not just with fitness centers, but with all the other tanning salons that are out there, all the other opportunities for indulgence. So let's go and talk about a little bit what's the reward for reaching out. What is your reward for reaching out to these communities? What do you get out of it? Okay, so it is great PR in your community. When you start giving up free tan weekends for the police or firemen, or for educators or media, or the military, or for the medical community, this is great PR. It gets people talking because they have excellent network that these communities do within themselves. So you've got really great possibilities for spreading the word, increasing your audience reach in an email, text, and social networking. It's huge. So you should really look into this. It's also, of course, got the opportunity for acquiring new customers, and it's an opportunity to take customers from your competition. Now, here's just a few examples of some emails that we've done. This is for a tanning salon over in North Carolina, but we've done it for many tanning salons. As you can see, first responders, educators, media and advertising, military, medical, but you may come up with other communities that are unique, specific to your market, and I'd go after them. And as we go out there, you can see them all. Okay, so let's talk about the reasons for reaching out. So it's to be a good community citizen, great PR, as we said before, an excellent word to spread the word of your salon. Pick the ones that are in the public eye, deserving of attention and reward, and go after those with real networking identity with their members. And so there are some communities, like I mentioned before, if you're going after the pipe fitters community, who cares, because they don't tan and they're typically males and they're typically older. So, but these communities I've all mentioned right now all have a real networking identity within their own memberships. So you reach out to these certain segments of the community through this strategy. Is very, very cheap, because again, think about what free tans on a weekend. So somebody comes in, they tan twice. Your raw cost is somewhere between 40 and 60 cents a UV tan. Let's say it's even 70 cents. And they come in and they tan twice during the weekend. It's cost you $1.40 to get someone in that door. Maybe somebody that you haven't tanned or hasn't tanned with you before. And even if there's somebody that's currently a tanner with you, it's at least reminding them of what a great place it is to come to your salon. It's giving them a reward, not for just being a tanner with you in the past, but because they worked in the medical or first responder community or whatever. And of course, new customers and revenues. Now, speaking specifically about first responders, a no-charge weekend tanning for anyone from the community of firefighters, police, EMT, ambulance drivers, anyone who serves the public in emergency scenarios. So just tell them, if you're part of that community, come on in this particular weekend, and we're going to give you a free tan. And they're usually first responders are within a short radius of your salon. They're truly community citizenry. Truly, first responders are. I've had them. Had a heart attack 6 weeks ago. They were wonderful. I've thanked them every time I go by that firehouse. I thank them. They tend to be middle income or voluntary staff that would be looking for a deal. They can be more male than female, but remember that you should offer that no charge tanning weekend to their female mate or spouse or friend or whatever. And so what is it that you care, particularly when we're talking about something that is, say, June through October, and maybe in early January? It doesn't cost you anything. You want bodies in the door. Okay, and if they say they're a responder, first responder, I wouldn't ask for their badge. I wouldn't ask for, you can if you want to, but who cares? In July, if they come in and they say, well, I'm a home care nurse, great. This is our weekend. This is your one weekend for free tans. It's just 2 free tans, or maybe if it's even 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Who cares? You've got them in the door. Now remember, in all your marketing that you do, and it's a phrase I've used many times, is that any kind of marketing campaign you use, all it can do is get people lathered up. You and your people that work in the salon still have to shave them. I always like that. Get some lathered up, but you still have to shave them. Okay, so first responders, great community to work with, and educators. Now, educators can include teachers, teachers' assistants, substitute teachers, professors, associate professors, administrators, maintenance staff, anyone who claims to be connected to an educational system of any kind. Now, this is particularly good if you're near a campus location. So in August, late August, when teachers or professors or associate professors are back to work and students are coming back on campus, and they're in September, in October, you've got a lot of this teaching and education staff, and this is the time to reward them for being part of our educational community. And the goal is to get anyone within the community of educational common interest to be spreading the word about your salon to their peers. So particularly effective in summer when they're on vacation. So, okay, so media, reaching out to the media could be the most important effort that you make. They have network and audience reach that is among their greatest potential. My goodness, just think if you were to get a news reporter to be look tanned and then spreading the word of her source for color, it could be huge. I particularly like to have the salons I work with, we reach out to those folks for a free spray tan or two and doing a before and after. Those before and after pics, you never know what's going to happen. And what if somebody wants to do a story on your salon? Not everybody in the media is anti-tanning. Matter of fact, most of them are not, because if you're a salesperson in the media, let's say that you sell time for a radio station, you want to look good, you want to be, your dress code wants to be just right, and you want to have some color. So it's media is very important. So if they're coming in for a free tan, engage them maybe in some kind of a fundraiser that the station or the paper does. And you don't care what media, it could be somebody that prints up flyers, or that has one of these coupon books that they sell to schools for resale. They're part of the media. Again, remember that you're not giving away a lot of free tans, you're getting them back in the door. Now, I said earlier, by the way, that you want to check history. If somebody says, well, I identify with first responders, and so they come in for that free tan weekend, and let's say that 2 weeks later you're running something about medical, and they say they identify with the medical community. If you see them coming in on too many of these weekends, and you check their history, and you see that they've tanned free, you got to start wondering, how many of these communities do you really belong to? And after you start looking at that and you say, well, I see that you're here for the free medical weekend, and now you're here for the free education weekend, they'll know that you're checking on their past history. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they came in off of 2 or 3 of these segments and tanned free, particularly in these off-peak season times. At least they're in the door. One of the most important things is getting feet in the door, and of course, as they say, butts in beds. And remember, the most expensive tanning equipment that you have is the tanning equipment that's not being used. You want people to get in there. And when they get in there, you want your staff to be able to upsell them to something that's more permanent than just that free weekend of tanning. Okay, so then you got military. I mean, really, is there another community segment that deserves more accommodation than the military? No. I have a grandson that served 5 years in the Marines and was in deployment overseas, Afghanistan, among all the lovely places he was at. And what these young folks go through is horrific. And so they absolutely deserve our free rewards. And so folks that are in the military are usually lower to middle income levels, and they're more apt to tan because they're concerned about looking attractive to each other, and they're looking for inexpensive tanning opportunity, maybe romance, whatever. They want to look good. So talk about networking opportunities, because a lot of times these military units have private communication vehicles, private Facebook areas and Instagrams that they can communicate with each other on, and start to get these people talking about a free tanning weekend at your salon. Yes, they do go on deployment every once in a while, but a lot of times they're on base for 4 or 5 months at a time, and you want them coming to you for their tanning. And of course, medical. Any given market that has scads of medical community members. I mean, doctors, nurses, surgeons, you look at the list, anybody that qualifies to work in the medical community. Again, you're not running these weekends right next to each other. If they're on duty and they can't come in for the free tan weekend, and they say, well, I wanted to get here last weekend when you had your free tan weekend for medical, I'd give them a couple free tans. Again, we're not talking peak season. We're talking off peak, when you go to any extent to get feet in the door. Okay, so the greatest percentage of folks from this community, remember, from medical community, are women. But talk about target marketing. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so I want to end this again. I want to just mention to those of you that maybe have not looked at your business from last year. We have peak season numbers, aggregate numbers from over 200 salons that I will be sharing in a very, very future, very soon YouTube broadcast that talks about what that aggregate of salons did in terms of dollars per tan and lotion dollars, EFT. I got a whole scad of numbers for you to compare against. We're going to put that on here in about maybe a little over a week, maybe less than that, okay? But if you're thinking that your business does not measure up to what we're going to show you, what our clients have done, please don't wait till January, February. I mean, I'm getting a lot of people coming in right now. We're very busy, and I love being busy because at 72 years old, I want to sit in a rocking chair. I love working with tanning salon owners and managers. And so, but please don't wait. We've now consulted over 450 individual tanning salon companies over the last 29 years. It says on their 200 location chains, it's really probably more about 900 by now. So anyway, you're looking for a business makeover, just go to our website and sign up either for the Vault, which is super cheap. It's the cost of, the cost of 5 hours of a part-time, not even that, because now a lot of the individual minimum wages are going up to $9.50, $10. So it's maybe 4 hours of part-time entry-level clerk, sales consultant wages a month. It's just super cheap. 50, 60 webinars in there, graphics in there. It's just full of information to help you make your salon better. And if you're looking for, you want a free consultation, go to www.johnrfarr.com. You'll see it on the screen there, and we're going to give you a free consultation about your business. Now, lastly, if you join the Vault, you can print out a copy of my latest book called The Game Changer, all about motivating employees. I've been motivating employees for 51 years. Whoa. That's officially an old fart, okay? Anyway, listen, good talking to you. I hope that this has helped you in some ways, and look for more stuff coming out. Thank you. Have a good one.